Hello, my name is Kevlar Golem, and this is my very first Knighthood video. And I know before we get started here, you're thinking, do we really need another equipment slash Foundry guide? And the answer is yes. There is some very large pieces of information and just crucial to how you're going to progress with your gear that are missing from those guides. So let's say you're level 1, you just started up the game, and I'm a free-to-play player, but for the sake of my example, by the way, this guide, the mechanics of it are going to be true for your pay players, but the actual decisions that you're going to end up making are probably going to be very different from what the decisions I'm making, because your resources are going to be different as a pay player from a free-to-play player. So just keep that in mind, and I'm not trying to like tell you what to do with your resources or tell you what your resources are, but I just want to put that out there. So let's say you're a level 1 player and you spend however much it costs to get 10 equipment chests, and boom, one of them is yellow. And by the way, I'm going to call them yellow, purple. I'm going to call them by their colors, not by their names, because the game decided to change the names for what the colors usually mean in most games, but that's another topic for another video. Anyway, so let's say you're a new player, you put down some money, you open 10 chests, 10 equipment chests, and you get a yellow, a gold. So that is going to take you for a very long way. Congratulations. You're going to start it from level 1, and you're going to want to try to keep putting resources into it as you gain levels. You're going to keep putting resources into it as you get, because it's a very safe bet that you're going to keep that item for a very long time, so you don't have to think about anything else other than, I'm getting the resource, I'm spending it on this piece of equipment. Simple. Now, most people aren't that lucky. Most people aren't, even if you are paying a little bit, you're not going to pay enough, unless you're like a mega whale. You're not going to pay enough to have every single piece of equipment that you have, of all the different types. You're not going to have all of those gold. It's just probably not. But maybe you whale out that hard, you don't need this guide then. So for that one piece of gold equipment you don't need this guide either. Now for the other pieces of equipment you have, you're like most people, you're going to start with a gray when you're low level, you're going to get a green, then you're going to move on to get a blue, and then you're going to get a purple, and then you're going to get confused because you put some resources into some of those pieces, and now some of them are up ranked, some of them aren't. But you got a new, better rarity, but it's lower rank, and now you wasted a bunch of resource, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't have any sort of roadmap or plan for how you're going to build your gear in terms of a big picture going forward. So I want to point out that you should keep a clear cut image in your mind that we're dealing with two different important things when it comes to a piece of gear. One is your level / rank. Really, the rank is the more important thing to keep in mind. And then the other is the rarity or quality, which is your color. So, for example, this is a level 20, but only rank 2. If it were 21, it would be rank 3. And it is purple, therefore not epic. I want to say epic. It's not epic. You get what I'm saying. That's the quality / rarity. So because of the fact that there's two separate things you're trying to work up, it's the fact that those two things aren't going to smoothly work up together, that creates complications. And if you plan ahead, will be less of a problem. So let's say you were starting the game and you have that high level green and you get a brand new blue and it's level 1. What do you do now? So it's going to depend, but this is why we have the plan, the understanding of how this all works, so that you can figure out how you're going to use what you got to get the best piece of gear that you can. By the way, you might have noticed that I didn't mention the gear, what's it called? I didn't mention the armor bonus, or the armor bonus is pretty something that I would not put a lot of weight into worrying about. It would be nice to get the set bonuses. You're going to get them anyway, because as long as you have at least 2 pieces, you get them at every additional piece. Like it's not like 2, 4, 6. It's just 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're just adding to it without you having to really worry about it too much. Also, there's a million different enemies in the game. They're all going to hit you with different types of attacks. So at some point, the bonus is going to come into effect to help you, and great if it does. If it doesn't, the fact that you have super awesome armor instead of 4 different mediocre armors is going to greatly outweigh that fact. And so, yeah, just don't worry about it. And with weapons, the monster countering does actually make a big difference. But again, if you're just getting into the game and working on getting your first golden weapon, your first yellow quality weapon, just focus on one weapon, I think. And I've heard other people say the same thing. It's better to have one very strong weapon than to have, I forget how many different types of enemies in the game there are. Let's say there's 9. It's better than to have 9 mediocre weapons, even if you're managing to hit your counters for all 9. Because that one super powerful weapon will be more than twice as good than 9 mediocre weapons. At the very end game, sure, try to get all the different types. That sounds great. I'll talk to you in a year about our different golden weapons that we have. So we're not worrying about that too much right now. The different bonuses. We're also not too worried about charms. That's these little slots here. Let's try to get this open. The charms. Basically, when you try to combine some charms at the forge, try to put the best one you can into your weapon. Be somewhat aware of, what they're doing and what heroes you have that are actually going to get benefit out of it, and what kinds of equipment you have that'll benefit, and etc. Make the most of it, but don't sweat it. Like, I'm not weighing the importance of them against gear. Gear is just more important than charms at this stage of the game. Again, a year from now, when we're talking about our golden weapons, charms are going to be super important. It's going to be the only remaining way to actually improve your weapon, because the weapon's already capped. But we're not worried about that today. Today we're just trying to get to that golden weapon place. We're just trying to get the best single piece of gear we can in each slot. Not worried about anything really beyond that. So just don't worry too much about charms. Just put whatever you can in there. Okay, so I already talked about the typical path. Like if you started with uh, a golden weapon right out of the chest, you just put resource into it. I consider that the traditional or like normal route of just weapon progression from there. The complicated part is when you're trying to use the forge to create a golden weapon, a yellow weapon. So we're gonna hop into the forge, and this is where it gets complicated because the rank of things is important and the quality is important. Obviously, the type, like you have to use a weapon and a weapon and a weapon, a boot and a boot and a boot, or a glove, a glove. You get it. That part's obvious, but so the quality needs to be the same. I can only use other grays when I'm upgrading a gray to make a green, but also the rank needs to be equal, or, and this is what all the other videos are missing, or one below. And they might mention that, but the importance of that is really what they're missing. You can use this fact to jump and not have to spend resources that you would have if you just try to level something up from level 1. So in my other example where I was talking about a piece of gear just being yellow already and you're just leveling it up, your only concern is resource. And now what you're going to be thinking about a little bit, you're thinking about resource, but really you're going to be saving a bunch. And you also are thinking a lot about gold. And be careful with gold because gold will get used up really quick using the Foundry. So let's put yourself in the shoe of somebody who had a nice piece of equipment. Let's back up and show that piece of equipment. So let's say you have this helmet. Let's say you have this helmet and it's nice, and then suddenly you get a purple and it's level 1. What do you do? Do you level up that purple from level 1 and take it all the way up to where this blue is already? You're gonna have to pay all the little you're gonna have to pay for all these little what are they called? The little bits. You have to pay for all these little metal bits, the little metal bars, and then more importantly, when you're going up in ranks, you're going to have to pay the tokens. And now, since I'm here already, I'll say that going from 10 to 11 is a significant rank going from 1 to 2 because it only costs the token. It does not cost the little rocks, the little cauldron of rocks that each have a different name depending on the color. So when you're going for this rank, even if you have a yellow weapon, it does not cost the yellow rocks, basically. And you see here how many of these little tokens I have. I'm actually running a little low. These are the lowest level ones. And you'll see of the higher rarity ones, I actually have more. But don't get confused because the reason I have more of those is because I never have spent them so far. Maybe once, but if I did, it was when I was very new and didn't realize what I was doing. But I essentially never spend them. And I'm starting to get enough where I'm feeling confident. Maybe I'll upgrade a few of them, pieces of gear using those. But I'm doing my very best to do it once per slot. And I'm going to show you how to do it that way. Because that is what this guide is trying to do, is trying to show you how to do this So every time you get a new quality of gear, you're not spending all over again all of this resource. And if you're careful, you can do it that way. And to show you a better example, again, I'm going to have to show you with examples because it's complicated and it makes way more sense to just show you with what I'm doing right now. So we'll go back to the Foundry and I'll show you my arms because they're almost ready to go. I actually thought for the sake of this video I was going to get to show you me ranking up my arms to purple, but because these new arms that the event gave us for free or for doing the event, you can't actually use them. That's a little tip for you if you didn't know that. The gear that we're getting from the event cannot be used in the Foundry, at least right now. Hopefully they change that once the event is over, but apparently there's some reason with the quests and the way that the quests work during the event that if you destroyed those pieces of equipment, it would be a problem in the event. Anyway, so I will bring up my arms. And you see I have 3 ready to go. I would have had 4, but I have 3 ready to go. And my arms are currently, the ones I'm using are level 29. So the question in my head I already made my decision, but would have been, do I take my arms that I'm currently using, take them to level 30 and then 31 to make them rank 4, or, and by the way, I forgot to mention this before, if when you upgrade a piece, it drops its level to the lowest possible level within that rank. So you see it would drop these level 29s to level 21s because that's the lowest level within rank 3. Now I could push it up to rank 4 by going to level 31. Now at 31, that would mean that in order for me to have the fodder I need, these 3 down below, these 3 other arms, they then would have to be rank 3 because you can only go down 1 rank. And it's very easy, like I mentioned, to get to rank 11 because all you need is those super easy to get, I don't want to say super easy to get, but easier to get lowest level tokens and none of the rocks, regardless of what quality of gear you're talking about. So level 11 is great for fodder. And it was very easy for me to get these arms to level 11. Now, I will lose the levels that I put into my arms if I do it this way. But personally, in my experience, the metal bars that you have to spend to get from level 21 to 29 are not that hard to get. I don't want to speak too harshly on that because you don't ever want to waste any of these resources, but those are not too bad. You can get those just by doing hunts, really. You also get them from your mines, and you'll get them back. Maybe slowly, you might not have them right away, but you'll get them slowly but steady. So I would rather let this thing drop back down to 21 with the upgrade, and then just pump some metal bars back into it, get it back up to 29, and then onwards from there. And in the future, this is going to be a harder process, but still I think is the way to go. So let's say I'm level 41. I'm going to be trying to get my arms, let's say the gear itself is actually 41 or above. Now I'm going to have to really start putting a lot of materials into my fodder, but hopefully when we're that far into the game, the lower level materials start coming faster and easier so that it doesn't feel so harsh. So let's worry about the future in the future. But right now, the best way to get this gear up in quality without losing rank is like this. And this is sort of the best model for upgrading your gears with this method. Now, I'm going to show you another example. I managed, because I'm a free-to-play player, it takes me a while to put together 10 equipment chests. I did manage to get a chest piece, and normally I use this piece, level 27, and I really underestimated the importance of rank, and I got a level 1 purple chest piece, and I thought, well, it's easy to get it rank 11, it costs, like I said, very little, and then only takes metal bars to get it to rank 20, and like I said, metal bars aren't too bad. And my current chest piece was only like level 22 or 23 at the time, and I thought, oh, this thing will be better than my current piece of armor, and it actually wasn't. The fact that it was a rank down meant that the higher quality gear was actually worse. So it kind of got stuck here at level 20. Now I'm not making great progress with my chests, where I thought maybe I would use this this new purple chest piece as a piece of fodder. For whatever reason, my chest pieces aren't coming together that quickly, and I am actually thinking, instead of using this purple piece as fodder, I'm going to do what I was talking about at the very beginning, which is just do this in the traditional method, which is start from level 1, put resources into it, rank it up, put more resources into it, rank it up again, until it's just better than the piece I already have. And I think that in this case, on because of where my resources are at, that's the better play for here. Also, because this is all so fluid, like you're limited in gold, you're limited in everything. If you try to use one method, like if you try to only ever use the forge, you're probably gonna get very, very gold starved. And just a quick gold tip, if you can get together 10 customization chests, hope and pray that you get a high quality cape, because that cape can be dismantled for a lot of gold, and that's a really good way to come back and get some gold if you're getting cash poor, using the forge too much or for whatever reason. Anyway, all is not lost. So even though this is sort of like my new plan is to rank up this purple and make it my primary piece of gear, my current piece being rank 2, I'm sorry, rank 3, if I wear this piece of purple long enough, it's going to be rank 4 with enough time. And a rank 4 piece is going to need rank 3 pieces in order to... actually, no, I would have to rank up these blues, so I take that back. Anyway, in the future, I can make this one purple as well, is my point. And that itself can then become a piece of fodder for this thing. And we're talking about probably months from now before I get that much gear that I'm looking to turn this piece up into a golden piece, and that I actually have the ranks to on all those other pieces that actually do this. So we're talking way down the line. But that's how you have to think about this kind of stuff. Because if you're not thinking about way down the line, you're going to get way down the line and your gear's going to be a mess. And I'll show you, I have a sort of like in the middle situation here. So again, I have this purple set, and I have to, think, am I going to take it and just put the resources in, or am I going to try to wait and use it as fodder to try to get this thing up? And I didn't really want to do both of them, but now I'm looking at, I have a really good amount of these tokens, and I'll show you where you can buy these purple rocks that I keep talking about. So there's a few ways to get them, but the way I think is best, well, the way that's best is probably the roaming monsters will randomly have them as rewards. If you get that opportunity, stamina, for a resource like that is totally worth it. But you probably won't get enough to do it purely that way. But in the arena, you have the market for the arena, and it's right here. And these prices aren't too bad, especially because the arena market is not all that competitive. There's some cosmetics that personally I don't care about. Hero chests and equipment chests. You see, I've already purchased both of them, and at the speed at which this shop refreshes, I'm at 500 arena currency, and I play every day. So if you're not that active, you might not have as much currency, and you're more excited to get the hero chests or whatever. But that is a lot of leftover to just buy some of these. And so that's what I would recommend if you're looking to get these rocks. This is a great way to get it. Anyway, so the key that I'm trying to convey is that there are two different methods for ranking up your gear. There is the traditional way where you just get the thing in a chest and then you rank it up. And then the other way, which is using the forge, and you're going to have to think about how you're going to use the forge to actually not lose the progress that you've made on your current gear, where you're trying to incorporate your new pieces of gear into your plan. And you're kind of seeing where I'm at, because I didn't get that chest that gave me those purple pieces of gear until after I'd made a lot of progress onto my blue pieces of gear. So you're going to have to make similar choices like this, and that's what's fun and interesting about this system, is not everyone's going to be in the same position, and they're not going to get the same things out of a chest, and everybody's going to have to make different decisions in how you manage this. But the important thing is to understand the mechanics of it and understand that there is a choice. You don't have to take every single thing from level 1 to level, to whatever your current level is, and pump all that resources into it all over again from the beginning. You can use the forge and use those new things, instead of as shifting them into your primary, you use them as into the future, you use them as fodder, because the things that you have that are blue now in the future will be purple, and in the future from that will be gold, if you continue to use the forge to push them, instead of trying to push every single new thing from level 1. Anyway, I keep saying it, but this is the crux of what this video is about, so sorry to be so repetitive. So if you liked the video, please let me know, like it or make a comment or whatever. Share it with your guildmates if it was helpful to you. If you didn't like it, please let me know in the comments what you didn't like, where I was wrong, because I can correct it. Also, I'd like to know for my own personal gameplay if I'm making a mistake. It'd be nice to know I'm making a mistake now than after I've gone way down the dark path into the wrong choice. But thank you, and have a good day.